I have the 6th gen style headlights on it. It's got just a K&N drop-in because K&N doesn't make a Cali legal intake for it. It's got JBA shorty headers, JBA cat deletes, which I actually drove to Summit in Reno to pick up.
Oh, really?
Booked it in a little tiny Chevy Sonic from LA through Vegas to Reno and back, all in
That
one night. Go. Hello.
Yo,
Yo.
There we go.
can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you guys loud and clear.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Okay, we're live. We're on recording in both places, so
Sweet.
what's up?
It's 106 here and like 60% humidity.
Are you shitting me?
I'm
Holy.
not joking.
Wow.
It's stickier than sticky.
Wow, that's crazy. It was like, we thought it was going to be cooling down here, and then, the last week? It's been 110 every day. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be like 112 coming up.
But you guys have the dry heat.
Yeah, well, it's been raining nonstop for like almost a month now. I think it's stopped now because it hasn't rained in a week or so.
Yeah.
So it's been really humid, but I think it's it's dried out now.
Oh, so the strip's not flooding anymore?
No,
No.
thank God.
That's all
So-
I saw online for like a week and a half was, oh, the lake's flooded. Oh, the strip's flooded. You could float down the strip.
Yeah, it was crazy there for a while. It was like it seemed like every other day it was like flooding, downpouring. It was a lot of like nighttime storms too. So
That's
That's
all
weird.
the videos I saw were nighttime stuff.
yeah, I don't know why the sun would go down and then it would start raining like crazy.
Yeah.
If someone hit the switch,
Yeah, it's so weird. So this is gonna be our weekend podcast. We're gonna release this on Saturday. So we wanted to get you on, everybody talks to you over the phone, chats with you online. They see your face when they come to the website. So be good to give the customers kind of a, face-to-face interaction with you, get to know you a little better.
little face to the name now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess we just wanted to have you on, maybe talk about kind of your background, get, customers an idea of who you are, where you came from, how you found us, and I guess how long you've been working for us now. And,
We're 2 days shy of 3 months.
oh, yeah?
Just a few days shy of 3 months. I think Tuesday will be 3 months.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you've been a blessing for us, man. We had someone named Nick working for us before you, doing all the custom, kind of your role, all the customer service, sales, and he stopped working for us early this year. Do you remember when? I can't remember,
No.
honestly. I don't know if it was around December, January, something like that. And we had been looking for his position for a while, and we came across you, and instantly I was like, yeah, this is the guy. He's got the knowledge. He has the automotive background. He's a pleasure to talk to on the phone.
All thanks to LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. You know what's funny is we've been using ZipRecruiter for a long time to try to find people. We used Indeed at the beginning, and then ZipRecruiter, and for whatever reason, LinkedIn has really been killing it the last year or so. So all the talent that we found has come from LinkedIn. So have you been on there a long time?
I want to say at least 8 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Damn.
It was when I was just before I left Pep Boys. That's how I found a place I was before I actually went to Nissan, there was a little company called BP. They're basically like Carvana and all these other deliver the cars to you kind of thing.
Oh,
Or
okay.
we list your car and sell it.
Right. Okay.
And they actually got bought out by Vroom.
Oh, really?
And I was almost going to work for them. I was going to be traveling all the time. And then all of a sudden they were just like, they flew me up there all the way to San Jose for an interview on my day off and back the same day.
Wow.
And then they're just like, okay, we like you, but we're not offering. I'm like, okay, but thanks for the flight.
Huh, that's interesting.
That was back in 2015, summer 2015.
Okay.
And then I ended up at Nissan after a few years at Pep Boys. Went to Nissan. I was with the second largest Nissan store in the world.
Oh, really?
West Covina Nissan. I was part of the Sage Auto Group.
Okay. And what were you doing there?
I was a service advisor. And then
Okay.
they had a Chevy store up the street. Their service manager walked out on them, and they saw what I had, and they're like, okay, cool. You're going to be their interim service manager until we find someone else.
Okay.
So I was up there for about a month before I went back to Nissan, and then moved over to a Chevy store closer to my house as an advisor. And then after about a year there, I found my last home where I was for 5 years
Wow.
with selling body kits.
That's right.
And really got out of my technical element for a long time. But this
Right.
is, working for you guys has brought it back home and back into my technical element. I
Right.
just didn't do 4 years automotive in high school and 4 years automotive in college just to sell body kits the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So what were you doing body kit wise? What were you doing there?
I started off in customer service. Within 3 months, I was in sales.
Okay.
But I was doing sales. I was doing our e-commerce, eBay, Amazon, Walmart. I was helping out with marketing. I was helping out with product development. They had my car, my first year, they had my car torn apart in 9 out of 12 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was literally just like, hey, we need your car for parts. Okay. So they designed parts on my car. I get parts for free.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So
That's
they did a lot of
basically how
research
I
and
built the Camaro with all the carbon was, oh, hey, we need your car. Cool. So I sacrificed my hood to design a hood, fenders I've sacrificed. I have another set of fenders that I sacrificed, and I'm still waiting on those to show up. They said, maybe September. I'm like, all right, whenever the container shows up.
yeah,
We
I've
designed
never
years ago. We're still waiting on them.
I've never actually seen your car at all, so you have to send some pictures.
Yeah.
What all have you done to it? What year, make, model?
It's a 2015 Camaro SS.
Oh, okay.
That's why I brought up to you on the email the other day about the 5th gen kits.
Yeah.
Because it's a popular modification for people to do.
Right.
I have carbon hood, carbon fenders, carbon side skirts, carbon trunk. I actually had a hand in designing the hood and trunk on that car.
Cool.
I have a new set of fenders, which I had a hand in designing that are coming whenever. I have what company it is? Some company from North Carolina that does a bunch of Camaro racing parts. They have a little bash bar for the front that makes room for an intercooler. So I got that on the front. I have the 6th gen style headlights on it. It's got just a K&N drop-in because K&N doesn't make a Cali legal intake for it. It's got JBA shorty headers, JBA cat deletes, which I actually drove to Summit in Reno to pick up.
Oh, really?
Booked it in a little tiny Chevy Sonic from LA through Vegas to Reno and back, all in one night.
That's a long drive because Vegas to Reno, I think, is like one of the shittiest drives.
At 3:30 in the morning, we got to Reno at like 11 a.m. Left Reno around 12:30. Got back into Vegas at like 7:30 p.m.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
So it was a 24-hour trip.
Well, and then we stayed the night in Vegas that night, and then went back home on Sunday. But it was one of those things where I'm like, that was a lot of driving.
Hell yeah! Did you drive most of the way?
Me and my buddy switched out every so often so we could both get some rest in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever ventured up much the 95, but there's a small town called Goldfield, and it looks like you drive through the movie Cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you're coming down the road into the town, looking off to the right, or especially sunrise, it looks like the mesas and Cars. Driving through the town, it looks like it's set up just like the movie, and I'm like, did they design the movie after this town?
So where?
Oh my gosh, they probably did.
Yeah, is it called Goldfield, you said?
Yeah, it's called Goldfield. It's, I think, 3 hours north of Vegas.
Oh, is it? Okay. Is it after Beatty? Do you know?
Yeah, it's definitely after Beatty.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember I stopped in Beatty. That was at like 4 a.m, and it was creepy as heck.
Heck yeah. That place is, yeah, that's the vibe I get to. It has that candy store. Did you go there?
No, it was closed. It
Oh yeah.
literally the only
Okay.
thing
Right in
open
the
was the
morning.
gas pump, and I just literally hopped out of the car. The car was still running. We threw like $20 in gas in it and took off.
Yeah. Yeah, Beatty gives those vibes. They have a pretty cool candy store there. It's big. It's like what's that one we always stop at?
Eddie World.
Yeah, Eddie World. You've been there?
Oh, like Eddie rolled off the 15.
Uh-huh. It's kind
Okay,
of
it's
like it. Eddie World is like that store on steroids, but it's not that big. But it is. They have a lot of candy like that in there, so it's kind of cool to stop in.
Eddie World's nice, but it just gets so packed sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like I'd rather just stop at State Line or Baker than Eddie World. Sometimes it gets so crazy.
Yeah, I mean the gas pumps. It's a madhouse all the time there.
Well,
It's pretty cool.
They claim they have a lot of gas pumps, and so does that one, the Chevron and Gene.
Yep.
But until you've seen a Buc-ee's, you have not seen a gas station.
Oh really? I think that.
Buc-ee's, there's like over 100 pumps, easy.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I think that Chevron and Gene is the one. Is that the most pumps you've seen?
Yeah, it's the most pumps
That's-
I've seen.
That's the world's largest Chevron,
Yeah.
but not the world's largest gas station.
Yeah, I'd have to see a Buc-ee's then, because that we've stopped. We've taken the Jeep over. Where did we go? Is that Devil's Peak? Is that when we would?
Yes.
We'd go to Devil's Peak right there with the Jeep, and then go to that Chevron and air up and stuff.
Yeah, the Buc-ee's by the Speedway in Fort Worth is huge.
Really?
The first time I went there, I spent 3 hours in their store.
Holy shit!
Think of a Walmart and a 7-Eleven having a kid.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
I've never been to Texas. We obviously need to go.
Yeah, we do.
I've done that drive twice now.
From
Once in the summer,
California to
once in the
Texas.
winter. Yep. Made it
Wow.
in 2 days in the Camaro.
Oh yeah, okay. You went down there for like LS stuff?
Car shows for
Okay.
both were with a company. They do shows out there in the Vegas area too. It's called Race Wars, 742 Race Wars.
Okay.
They had a show at almost said Allegiant, but it's a casino that starts with an A. It's one of the smaller ones.
Aliante?
Yes, that one. Yeah, they had a show at their parking garage.
Got you. That's
Yeah, they've done a couple shows there.
we live like 5 minutes away from Aliante, so we're north side of Vegas right there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's where they've hosted most of their Vegas shows.
Okay, that's cool.
So that's
Yeah,
the
we'll
guy
have to
I do
check
a lot
that
of
out.
my trips with.
Next time they do that, let us know. We'll have to check it out.
Definitely will, because he's working on his schedule for next year already.
Okay. They already did it this year?
No, normally he does it around October, but he hasn't announced anything for this year.
Okay.
Sometimes he'll throw something like last minute. He'll be like, hey, here's 3 weeks notice there's an event, and everyone's like, what?
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah. But back to my world with body kits. I was in so many different places there. I was helping out every department you could think of.
Right.
And it was fun. I had an amazing time there. I did SEMA with them twice.
Okay.
Once with a Tesla, once with a Corvette. Both times got to drive the cars out. Definitely prefer the comfort of the Tesla over that C8 because I sardined myself into that C8. You guys probably saw it if you walked around last year. We were right next to Hotchkiss.
Okay. Yeah,
PML covers.
I always find that interesting, like walking around SEMA. There's a bunch of people there we're probably going to be meeting in the future, just haven't met yet. So it's cool, thinking you were there for the last 2 years.
I did, 2021 and 2019.
Okay, got you.
But it's been that was a fun run, and then I found you guys with LinkedIn. And I was like, yep, time to get back to my tech background.
Yeah, I remember when we first started talking, you were, saying like it's been a while since I've, been around like differential stuff, transfer case. Like I don't know how technical you were with transfer case stuff, but you've picked it up really quick, right? I mean, it's fairly simple.
And most of my training was Toyota product too.
Oh, okay.
So coming into, even though I'm a Chevy head, having the Toyota background, it just mixes so well that it's like when I have Toyota people call and they're like, "Yeah, I need a transfer case." It's Toyota only.
Right.
No one even touches those ASIN units. No one even has parts for them.
Yeah,
That's the one thing that's the downfall to those Toyota units. It's like, sorry, go visit your local Toyota dealer.
yeah, it's interesting because we used to sell a lot of Nitro Gear product, and they're kind of they're like most popular in the Toyota field.
Mm-hmm.
And so we sell a lot of Toyota kits, and that's something since we stopped working with them, we haven't I don't even know what kits we have available for Toyota stuff, but we should be selling a lot of differential stuff because a lot of those Toyota guys, I mean, that's what they do. They put the lifts on, they beat the shit out of them, and we should be getting those calls, and we need to be focusing more on that because especially your background.
There's a local Toyota show out here every once a month, and all my friends drive Toyotas, and I have the GM product.
Oh, okay.
So like at King of Hammers this year, I had at the time a blown front differential and a blown transfer case.
Really?
In the Suburban. And all my friends are running around in four-wheel drive in their Toyotas, and I'm over here one cylinder down because I burned a coil pack up driving up there.
Oh, God.
With two-wheel drive. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm in four-wheel drive." And I'm like, "Why am I only in two-wheel drive?" And I'm getting around just fine, and half of you guys are getting stuck in four-wheel.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And they're all in, like, one guy's in an older Land Cruiser, another one's in Forerunners, and another in a Sequoia, and it's like, y'all are in four-wheel drive, I'm in two-wheel drive because I'm stuck here in two-wheel drive. So now I got the case in, got a new diff in, I just now need to get that front drive shaft so I can actually go harder on the dirt.
Yeah, so it has a drive shaft in it, or it doesn't right now?
The drive shaft sitting in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
When I redid the transmission, the rear drive shaft decided to exit the conversation on that transmission shop's test drive.
Yeah, that sucks.
So got that in quick, and I just told them leave the front one out because it was the same age. Right. 312,000 mile truck.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bought it for $1,200.
What transfer case is in yours? 246? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you already rebuilt it?
Yeah, I got the unit from a company that my old work did a couple like four-wheel drive builds with years ago, so they hooked it up, and that unit was sitting in my garage for like almost 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, well, whenever I do the trans, I'll get it done. But even when they sold it to me, they're like, oh yeah, we did this upgrade and this upgrade and this upgrade, and then when I started working here, I'm like, oh, that's all the upgrades that are in our kit.
Yeah, exactly. Did you send the core back to him?
No.
Or you still have the core?
I have the core sitting in the backyard.
Really?
It was like I think $200 they wanted at the time for the core, so I was like, I'm just going to sit on it.
Yeah.
Because back then, no one was charging, cores were real cheap back then 2 years ago. Now cores are through the roof.
Yeah, I'm sure you've quoted some reman units recently, and I mean, cores are anywhere from 600 to 2,500. Like, it's insane.
The Warner 44.6, 44.47 cases.
Because
everyone keeps blowing them up. The cores have gone from a $400 core to a $1,000 core in 3 months.
Yeah, it's insane.
I've seen those units go from $4,000 to $6,000.
Those 44.46, they're in a lot of heavy duty stuff too. Like, we have a lot of fire departments calling in their rigs running that transfer case, and there was a while there, it might have been before you started, where the pumps and the sprockets were nowhere to be found. Nobody in the US had them, and it sucks because we were selling a lot of 44-46 rebuild kits, and we just couldn't get our hands on the sprockets and the pumps there for it was probably like 3 months. So there was a lot of fire departments out there that were reaching out like, hey, did our shit come in? It's like, no, man, I'm so sorry.
They're like, our truck's down. I need to fight a fire.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah.
It was one of those COVID delays, right? Where, everything, the container is most likely in the port. It was supposed to be here 3 months ago and it's not there. So, but have you seen
Don't even get me started with container delays.
No, I know. Especially at your old job, I know you fought that.
Everything came from China.
Right.
It was a 200,000 square foot warehouse. And at one point, I could see from one corner diagonally to the other corner of empty shelves.
Really?
I think we had 52 containers at one point sitting offshore.
So how did you guys deal with customers during that time?
Our website had active ETAs.
Okay.
Because we were the manufacturer. So we could actively keep our ETAs updated. But it's just one of those things where it's like when someone would place their order, it'd say, okay, cool, it's 6 weeks out. Then before you know it, okay, hey, that's actually going to be like 40 weeks out now.
Right.
At least we never got as bad as King Shocks with a 1.5-year back order.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it sucks.
I think they're still on a year back. I think they're at like 48 weeks right now.
Really? It seems like in our industry, ring and pinions and stuff all of that's kind of being alleviated the last 3 months, 4 months. Everything seems to be back on the shelf. At least it might be low on the shelf, but they are trickling in, every couple of weeks.
Being smaller too, companies, if it's coming from overseas, since it's smaller, a lot of it could, in emergency situations, be air freighted over.
Yeah, true.
Because I got a buddy who works for a turbo controls company, and all their stuff comes from, I think, Australia.
Okay.
Everything's with them is air freighted over.
Really?
Because they just palletize it, send it on it's all, think about it, it's all stuff that could fit in the palm of your hand.
Right.
Why even bother ocean freighting one pallet?
Right.
When you could air freight it and have it there, in a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, air freight obviously is crazy expensive overseas, but
actually air freight got cheaper than ocean freight for a while.
Yeah, I know, I bet. It's, especially as volume goes up. If they're able to fill that plane, send it, fill that plane, send it. Yeah, and then the container rates went insane. So, yeah.
I think we hit 25,000 a container at one point.
Really? Yeah,
it was ridiculous. I think they even paused shipping containers because of how crazy it got on pricing.
Wow. Yeah, it sucks. I'm glad at this point, when customers are placing orders with us, it seems to be 1 out of every, I don't know, maybe 25 orders where it's like, we literally can't find this anywhere in the country.
Yeah, like that 308 gear.
Yeah, and we had that, the 373, the 9.25 IFS front end one.
Found one.
Yeah, literally found one in the country. And it seems like 1 out of every 25 we might have that issue. It seems like everything we pretty much have readily available now. The manufacturers are able to get shit over here.
It's kind of the oddball ones out though, because it's the 9.25 front end, which not that many trucks have, or the 8.2. It's like not that many cars have that, and if they are, there are a lot of older ones.
Yeah, I think a lot of
odd ratios too, because a lot of those trucks the 9.25s were done in 410s, not 373s.
Yeah, so I think
308 and 8.2 are still not even that desired.
Yeah, so it's definitely the manufacturers are, the 373 being, like in an 8.5 373 or a 8.8 9.25, all of those. I think obviously when shit ran out, they just upped production as much as possible when they did have people to produce, right? And so that the normal stuff, which was gone a while ago, all of that is being, replenished now and seems to be good. But yeah, like you're saying, the oddball ratios and stuff like that, I think they're going to get around to here in, the next couple months maybe.
Yeah, because who would think of, 2012 2500 would have 373s in it?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, it seems like everybody is making the 410s through 488s or 456s.
Well, considering my Suburban factory is a 410 truck.
Oh, is it?
Factory 410 G80 truck.
Yep. Did you change the G80?
No, not yet. Well, I think that got replaced when my buddy had it, because when my buddy had it, the carrier bearings decided to exit.
Oh, okay.
So I could actually see some old marks where the ring was slamming on the cover.
Gotcha.
So I know that ring and pinion got replaced, I think about a year before I bought it off of him.
Okay.
But I know definitely when I dive into it, I'm putting our Hell Posse in it.
Yeah. Yeah, the helical gear posi is the way to go. It's just lasts forever. You can beat the shit out of it.
No more additive either. What's that additive bottle now? 20, $30?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It's like, make it simple. Throw fluid in it, send it down the road.
Yep.
I even have my
sure.
old front diff in the backyard too, next to my transfer case. I got to rebuild that too. The 8 1/4 clamshell.
Okay. So you bought a whole new front end?
Yeah, I got one from LKQ because I was like, when I was trying to get the suspension done, I was like, let me get that in first before we do the suspension. So it's not one of those things where I'm taking all the suspension apart again to redo that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but
cool.
I'm like, might as well keep my core, especially if I have the room and I have the technology to rebuild it. It's like backups.
Yeah, well now you have all the parts at your hand, to
Exactly.
do that too. So that's cool.
Got the diagrams and everything to dive into it.
Yep.
Just got to find my tools to do that. They're somewhere in the garage.
What about your? You said it was a 2015 Camaro.
Yes, sir.
What kind of performance upgrades do you have in it?
Just the exhaust right now. It's got the JBA cat delete, the JBA shorties, and then it's got it used to be straight pipes, so it had no mufflers, no resonators. Mm-hmm. And then Thermal R&D out of Palmdale, Lancaster hooked me up with a full catback exhaust on it.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So it's got that on it, but performance-wise, nothing, because those cars are fast out of the bag.
Yeah.
But I've also stripped 600 to 700 pounds out of the car too.
Oh, really?
It has no headliner, no center console. Let's put it this way: it has the only factory interior remaining is the dash and the dome light.
Okay.
So
you're
no
taking
headliner,
the seats out and everything too.
No headliner, no rear seats. It's got racing bucket front seats.
Okay.
All the rear interior plastics are gone. All the trunk interior is gone.
Does it still have AC?
Damn.
Oh yeah, I still got AC. Working AC,
must, right?
Working heater. Yeah. I got nav. I got satellite radio.
Do you drive it a lot?
All the comforts.
You drive it a lot or no?
Oh yeah, it's got 142,000 miles on it already.
Oh really? Cool.
My first 3 years with the car, I put 87,000 miles on it.
Holy shit!
Wow.
You were taking it to Texas?
No, that was before the Texas trips.
Oh really?
Yeah, the Texas trips have only been in the past 2 years. First time I went was in the middle of when COVID got real bad again in like November 2020.
Okay.
I drove out there the weekend before Thanksgiving, did a show, left there on the Monday before Thanksgiving, booked it back, and I literally missed storms and snow and tornadoes all by a day on my drive back.
Shit.
I was in Vegas for 5 days because every casino was hurting. Venetian, $85 a night.
Yeah, stupid, right?
I was like, I'm spending Thanksgiving at the Venetian.
Yeah, it was a ghost town. Me and her drove down there. I mean, it's packed to the gills.
Yeah.
24/7 all the time. And so yeah, when everything shut down, it was weird. It was like one of those movies, like Will Smith did. I can't remember what it was called, but like the world has ended type of thing.
Oh, it's more like Independence Day.
It was weird, man. There was nobody. Everything was like barricaded off. It was like we were the last humans on the planet down there. It was weird.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It was probably all barricaded off like the night I was walking back to my hotel room after the shooting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was probably that empty, wasn't it?
You were there. You were there that night too?
Yeah, I was just on the eastern side of the stage.
Oh, you were there at the concert?
Yeah, that was my second year around 91.
That's insane, man.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
The entire weekend prior to Sunday, I was on that western side of the stage.
Oh, really?
And something that day, because I was going to push to the front with a couple of friends that happened to be there, and something told me, oh no, I'm going to stay back here. So they decided to stay back too, and good thing I did.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding.
We didn't have tickets for, it was the ACM
No, Route 91.
Yeah.
Route 91. That's right. So
I did Party for a Cause for 2 years too.
Okay.
That was a little fun one, but staying at Circus Circus just for the convenience of being right next to where that was not.
Yeah. No. So we had talked about going. We didn't have tickets, but I told her, like, Jason Aldean's gonna be, like, that's why we were gonna go, is to see Jason Aldean, right? And so we had discussed it, I think, the day or 2 days before. Like, we should go. We should drop the kids off. Or I guess we only had Hudson at that point. I don't remember.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah. So we would only have had Hudson. We should drop him off and go. It'd be fun. And then luckily we didn't, because we didn't know about it that night. I woke up to go to work early in the morning, and my phone, had blown up with, "Are you okay?" All that, all that crap.
Everyone thinking you might have been there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was like a thing that Facebook did where you checked in to make sure you were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like how Snapchat does those crisis stories.
Oh, okay.
One of my Snapchat stories from that night ended up on their crisis story even.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. That's cool.
There was one point where I was even on the airport tarmac, and then I realized, wait, how did I just get my butt audio over that fence?
Yeah.
And then I went right back over the fence because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah, I know. Then your ass is going to be in trouble for being in the airport.
Yeah, I ended up walking up to Hooters Resort, which is now OIO, and I was greeted by SWAT.
Really?
They had SWAT guarding the front door.
Yeah, I bet.
And that's where I spent most of my night until about, I want to say it was about 4:30, 4:45 in the morning.
Really?
Before they released us back. And I was staying across the street at Luxor.
Oh, you were?
That's where I always used to stay. That was my mainstay was, oh, here, let me just stay at Luxor. Because it was convenient. Cheap, nice hotel, convenient to go everywhere I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it's like, I got lucky.
Hell yeah. That's a good thing.
Because even 2016 when I was there, all 3 nights I was on that west side of the stage right near the front too.
Really?
Like I have pictures and video when Toby Keith was playing in 2016, and I'm like, I don't know, I could probably have thrown my phone and hit him.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there was a lot of people in town that night. Even if they weren't at the concert, I mean, there was a lot of big people. Like, I remember Grant Cardone talking about it.
Yeah.
He was stuck up at the top of Mandalay Bay because nobody knew.
Oh, at Foundation Room?
I think so. I don't know what I think it was him and his wife were there.
Yeah, there's like a big old fancy restaurant and club up there.
Yeah, I don't know if he was there for in a business meeting or what he was there for, but I remember like the next 2 days, 3 days later, I used to watch his I don't remember what he has a podcast or like a video show that he does once or twice a week, and I was watching that, and he was telling a story about how he was stuck up there for, just like you were at the Hooters Resort for until 4:30. They wouldn't let anybody in or out.
I think they searched most hotels room by room too, because when I got back to my room, there was stuff in places I didn't leave it.
Oh, really?
I was like, my bag was not there. My bag was over here.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be...
Wow. I bet that was so weird for all the people who stayed.
I didn't sleep that whole night.
Yeah.
I fell asleep at like 7 p.m. Monday.
Oh, really?
I flew back. Because I flew in that weekend. When I come out for the concerts, because I'm like, I don't want to deal with all the concert parking and concert traffic.
Yeah.
I just fly in.
Yeah.
And when my friends heard about the shooting and everything, one of them was going to school in San Diego at the time, and they drove up from San Diego to Covina with my other friends. They were ready to come up and get me because they didn't know if the airport was going to reopen.
Yeah. How long were the flights delayed?
My flight luckily didn't get delayed at all.
Oh, okay, good.
The airport was back up and running by 8 a.m.
Okay.
So I had like a 12:30, 1 o'clock flight. So by the time I got there,
everything was good.
Gone out the door.
That's
but
good.
My worst delay was actually leaving SEMA this past year.
Oh, really?
It was an hour delayed boarding and an hour and a half delayed once we were on the plane to take off.
Any reason?
Because there was 27 planes waiting to take off.
Oh, really?
All the Vegas traffic, from SEMA weekend leaving.
Yeah.
And that was just on the commercial side of the airport. So, and then I think I was looking at my FlightAware app. There was probably another 15 private planes waiting to take off.
Were you leaving Friday?
Dang.
No, I flew in Wednesday and I left Sunday.
Oh, really? And it was still backed up? Shit.
Oh, that's crazy.
So do you go to like the have you been to like the SEMA after party thing that they do up the street there?
The
They
Ignite
drive all the
event?
cars. Yeah.
Yeah. So I drove both cars through that event.
Oh, okay.
Didn't
Interesting.
stop either one of them because I was just like, I don't want to get stuck in here and then be here till like 3 a.m. with the car. Considering the Tesla was the owner of the company's buddy from college's car.
Oh, okay.
And that car I actually drove back from Vegas.
Did you?
The Corvette I just dropped off with the owner of the car. He was staying at Plaza. The Tesla, I had to drive it back from Vegas. And I'm like so nervous. I'm like, please let me not destroy the kit.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, boy.
That would have been bad.
How does that body kit look on the Tesla?
Oh, it looks good.
Does it?
It's a front lip, side splitters, rear diffuser, and little winglet piece.
Okay.
So it looked good. It was a Model 3.
Okay.
We had Model S parts too, and we were trying to get X and Y coming out, but I don't know if those are even out yet.
Gotcha. That's cool. I'll have to take a look at them. You should send some pictures of your Camaro too.
Yeah,
I'd like to see it.
It's a fun little car. I've had it up to 165.
Really?
Out of Willow Springs.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of let it loose, and I was rolling through the gears and kind of looked down. And I was like, oh. And then I've had it on streets of Willow before because I've done a lot of like road course racing with extreme speed and like turn 8 events and other track hosts.
Right.
So I've run Big Willow, Streets of Willow, and Chuckwalla with that car.
Oh, cool.
And I think I've caught air a few times at Streets of Willow.
Really?
There's a small chicane section where if you hit it right, you'll catch air. And most of the time I'd hit it doing about anywhere between 95 to 110.
Okay.
Dang.
That's cool.
And then it's an instant left-hand turn right after that chicane.
Oh, really?
You hit the ground, you just better already be turning.
Oh, wow. That's scary.
Or you're off into the dirt.
Yeah, that's fun though. That's a good time.
I gotta re-gear that car soon. I think I'm 342s.
Yeah, I think so. I think they make I think they only make 390s and 410s. Is that right?
373, 391, 410.
Oh, do they? Okay.
And I think there's a 456 as well.
Oh, really? So they've added, because I think that when I was listing those kits on the site, I think there was only 390 and 410 at that time. So they must have added some new ratios. Yeah,
I remember when I was looking at it, there was like a whole little laundry list of them.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
But I don't know if in that car I'll have to do some research because I don't think, since it's that 8.6 independent rear, I don't know if there's really anything locker-wise for the rear of that besides the Auburn gear one.
Yeah, I don't remember. Last time I looked, I don't remember there being any options. I don't know if...
327, 345. So I'm at 345 right now. 391 and 410.
Okay.
I think it was another car I was thinking of that goes up to 456. That's similar to mine.
So what are
probably
you...
like a TTO or something.
Are you going to look at a 390 then? Or more
I'll probably do that. I'll probably do that 391 gear.
Okay.
Because the 391 gear is the 1LE gear set.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So that's the upgraded one. And I think Chevy maybe still makes the diff cooler add-on plate. So it replaces that whole rear cover housing.
Okay.
And it actually gives you a cooler option. But I found out those coolers, they call them coolers, are actually heaters.
Oh, really? It's to get up to temp?
It runs it into the transmission.
Yeah, Chevy does that a lot. I mean, even in like your Suburban, doesn't it run transmission fluid into the radiator?
Yeah, so since mine's got the extra heavy duty cooling, I already got the small little cooler up front.
Oh, okay.
So it runs it through the cooler and the radiator.
Right.
But eventually I'll probably do our 40K cooler on it, because that little puny cooler is probably not going to do much for me for long.
Yeah, I mean, you saw my black truck at the shop, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that truck has a I think at the time that I had the 40K on it, it had, I think that's when I had my 408 in it. It was I had a 408 motor, and then I had a 4L80 transmission.
Okay.
And I added the 40K to for the transmission, and dude, it I would cruise on the freeway like in 110-degree heat. The transmission would sit at like 130 degrees. So everybody's like, "No, that's way too cold, way too cold." But it's like, I don't think you can run the transmission. I mean, if it's over 100 degrees, I think you're good.
Yeah.
And
to me, the worst case you should ever see, maybe 165, 170.
yeah,
Any higher than that, you're going to cook it to death.
yeah, I think if you're beating the shit out of it and you can keep it at 160, that's, I mean, those 40K coolers are badass. They really keep the temp down. Because I mean, normal cars run their, OEM cars run their transmissions at 200 to 230 all the time.
Well, here's the weird part: the Camaro has a manual, but it runs ATF.
Oh, really?
And then they run it into the radiator.
Right.
I bypassed that, took the lines off, and I just put an Amazon cooler because my radiator one started leaking. I just put an Amazon Hayden up front temporarily. I'm just like, meh, it does the job, and it only cools it then.
I think, yeah, if you're living in a warm environment, I just hate that they run the transmission lines into the radiator like that. That drives me nuts. So,
I'm even doing a separate cooler for my oil too. So it's got a cooler heater assembly for the oil. I'm deleting the heater and just running a pure cooler system too for that.
Right.
So it's literally, I will never have contamination because oil will be separate from the radiator and the trans is already separate.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
To me, it's best to, split it out as much as you can, because then everything runs better. And then there's no, say your radiator fails, it's not going to contaminate other fluids.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You see that all the time where the radiator takes a shit and then there's transmission fluid running everywhere, and it's a nightmare.
Or cooling into your trans, and then
exactly.
Then now you need a trans.
Yeah, you got to flush everything out, clean it out the best you can.
And hopefully you didn't run it too long, or then you're going to have to rebuild it.
Yep.
Yeah, we just kept the 4L60 in the burb. I told him, I showed him our list, and I'm like, can you just do like these basic upgrades and then add the shift kit on it? He's like, okay, done.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not running any horsepower through it, the 60's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the 60 because they put, nitrous and superchargers, and they put big cams, and they beat the shit out of it, and then third gear goes. But I mean, it is what it is. If you're going to throw any kind of horsepower at it, then a 60 is not your friend.
Yeah, my trans was fine until we put the new engine in it. Well, new used engine, because I put a 100,000 mile unit in it.
Okay.
That I got from my buddy's cousin who sells LS motors.
Gotcha.
And it was fine till I put that in it. And then all that new power decided to just shred 3.4.
Really?
I was driving, this was, I want to say, right after I got back from Texas over that last weekend of July. I'm driving down the street, and I put my foot in it, and I just felt neutral.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
yeah, that's what happens.
I'm like, I'm just going to turn around and go home.
Yeah, that sucks. Have you ever rebuilt a transmission before?
Yeah, I've done a 700 R4, and I've done a bunch of Toyotas.
Okay. I rebuilt the 4L80 that's in that black truck that you saw.
Nice.
Got it all installed. And I was.
Did you do the Sonax upgrades on it, or?
Yeah, I went through everything in that thing. Because I was. It never when I had the 408 in there, and then after the 408 was in there, I put a just a small junkyard 4.8 in it with a turbo. Mm-hmm. And I could never get it to shift out of first gear fast enough. It would just like I had to let out, and then it would shift in a second, and then I could haul ass. But so
it had to see that pressure change, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there we go.
Yeah. So then I rebuilt it in my our old garage, and went to go take it for the first test drive, and it was all neutral. and I was fucking pissed.
I remember that.
Did you put a backwards?
I had to. I can't exactly remember what I did. I did something upside down in one of the drums.
I think that's what I did too on the 700.
Really?
Because the 700 was the old core out of my uncle's truck, and he has the 89 step side.
Okay.
And I'm like, cool, I have a free project for school, and I did something backwards like that. So we had the trans dyno, so I put it on that, and it was instant nothing.
Yeah.
And there's pressure, and there's no pressure, and there's pressure, and there's no pressure.
It's coming back to me a little bit now. Remember, I pulled it out of the driveway, and it had enough. It was just like it was slipping nonstop or something. So I would give it gas, and it would go, but you could tell it wasn't engaged. So like it was almost like it was a neutral, but it was like it was moving under its own power. So I was able to pull it out of the garage, pull it back into the garage, but it was like it wasn't fully engaged. You could tell. So I was like. Because I had to put the truck up on. I didn't have a lift at the time. I had to put it up on jack stands. Had to pull the transmission out from under the truck, put it back on the bench. It was, oh man, it was terrible.
So you're under there power lifting and bench pressing a whole 4L80 in and out.
I went and bought a Harbor Freight special, transmission.
The trans jack?
Yeah, the trans jack, and it's a real piece of shit, but it helped, right? It helped a little bit. I actually cut the shit out of I dropped, I don't know if you can see, I have this nice cut right here.
Oh, what the heck?
I dropped the transmission off of that jack onto my hand. So the rear yoke went into my hand. It was slipping off of that piece of shit jack. And she was in the garage at the time. I was like, Sam, come here, hurry, help me. And I think I had her jack the truck up a little bit more. And when that happened, it came off, and my first instinct is, oh, let me prevent this from falling, right? So I put my hand under the yoke, and it was just, and then I remember looking over, and the yoke was inside my hand, and I was like, oh shit,
how many stitches?
Luckily it wasn't that many. How many was it?
No,
5 or 6.
I think 5.
I mean, they spaced them out pretty well, but it was man, it was, all flapped open, and it was nasty.
It was so nasty. Well, first of all, he didn't even think he had to get stitches. I
was just like trying not to go to the hospital, right? Because like, who wants to? I think it was like on a Sunday night or something, and I was like, ugh.
And he was so black. I mean, they did the best they could to clean it, but he was so dirty.
Yeah, I mean, I
was
had
nothing
black
they could do.
all the way up to my elbows.
You look like
hands.
A coal miner.
Yeah, all black on my knees and my legs, and
they were probably like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
It was disgusting. So yeah, that happened.
Were you about to super glue your hand back together and say, "Let's just trudge on"?
Dude, I was like in so much pain. That was the most, you smash your finger in between something, like that hurts like a mother, right?
3 fingers in the door of my mom's Volvo when I was like 10.
Yeah. So like whatever it is about like getting something smashed like that, it hurts so bad. So yeah, it smashed my hand up against the concrete, right? And luckily I was like, oh shit, how am I gonna get this transmission off my hand now? But luckily, I don't know, adrenaline, I like reached over and I threw it off of my hand. And luckily it rolled off fine. So I got my hand out, and then she was, getting me towels to put on it because it was bleeding everywhere. And then she was running upstairs to go get our son to go, to the hospital. And then I was just pacing in the kitchen like, oh man, like it was the worst pain ever, right? And then she comes down, and I was like, well, do we even really need to go to the hospital? And then I like took it off, and then we both were like, okay, yeah, we do need to go to the hospital.
Yes, it was cut so deep. But you should tell about when we did get to the hospital, how much pain you were in, them trying to numb your hand.
Oh, dude, that was the worst. They prick it like 60 times, and it's not even a big needle or anything. I don't know what it's just super sensitive area at that point. And they like filled my hand up to where it was just like,
ballooned out.
Yeah. And it never fully went numb. And I was like, I can still feel like, I can pretty much feel everything. Like I think one side was a little more numb than the other, but they were, just, they didn't give a shit. They're just, putting the
The stitches.
The stitches through,
They're
and
just like, let's fix you up, send you
yeah,
on
I
your
could,
way.
I
Yep.
could feel everything. It was the worst.
Well, the crazy thing too, it always amazes me how, I don't know, I guess if they don't think it's an emergency, they take a while to like attend to you. So we sat there for a while before they even got him numb or stitched up.
Yeah, well, my hand was so black too that they had to put my hand like in a bath of, whatever it was, I don't know, to try to get all the dirt off, to make it as sterile as possible. But that was an experience.
Probably
So,
like
yeah.
an iodine bath or something.
So I think my truck had sat there for like a month after that, because I can't remember. Was that when I was initially putting it back in?
I think so.
So I had rebuilt it, and that was when I was putting it back in the truck, and then it fell on my hand. And so I was down, I couldn't use my hand or whatever for a month or two. So my truck was just sitting in the garage for that long. And then finally I had my buddy come over and help me put it back in, and then all neutrals or whatever. So I was like extra pissed, like, son of a bitch. This is going to be a year-long project getting this piece of shit truck back together.
You're like, someone push this out in the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
grab a gas can, grab a lighter.
For real. I've told her that so many times. Like, I wonder if I could just light this thing on fire. And I don't know. We always joke about that.
You would never, though.
No, I would never.
He secretly loves that truck more than anything.
I do. It's fun. It's fun to have, like you have your Camaro. It's fun to have something to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't necessarily
just wish
do
I had
that
the
much.
truck I had before that still.
Oh, what did you have?
I had a 06 GMC Canyon Crew Cab,
Okay.
but that truck I got from my grandpa after he died.
Oh, really? That's cool.
We found out he had brain cancer back in 08 from him wrecking his truck.
Oh,
Then
really?
his insurance fixed it, and then after he died 2 months later, I got the truck. But then in 2014, after I had it all with a full mid-travel kit, 35s, FOA shocks, and everything, I had 6-month-old hub assemblies on it. One of the driver hub assembly decided to seize and shear on the freeway.
Oh, God.
Tire came up into the door and truck made a right-hand turn at 70.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
I
So
snapped
did
the
it
steering
total
rack
up?
off. I snapped the steering rack off the frame. Like, not even just the steering rack was snapped. No, the mounts that were welded to the frame were clean snapped off.
Wow.
The frame was twisted. It was like you put it in, you turn the truck back on, and you could hear just something in the transmission rattling.
That sucks.
It was a fun truck when I had it,
Yeah.
But then after that, then I got the Camaro.
Okay. Yeah, my grandpa, he passed away.
He'd probably be screaming at me with the way what I do with the Camaro, but
Yeah, I know.
I
My
got my
grandpa-
life put from him.
My grandpa passed away 3-4 months ago now.
Yeah.
And he had a Hummer, an H2, those truck Hummers, right? They have a bed like this big in the back.
Oh,
But
the H3Ts?
Yeah, he had an H2.
Oh, okay.
A while ago.
Okay, I didn't realize they made the truck version of the H2.
Yeah, it was a while ago when they first came out. He had 37s on it. It was like the only Hummer that I've ever seen lifted, right? He had a little tiny lift on. He had 37s on it. It was a badass. Like we were like, why are you getting a Hummer? And then he was like, he was going to get the truck version of the Hummer, and we were like, what truck version? And then he shows up and it has this little bed in the back. But
just enough for your cooler.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even his golf bag probably had to go in the back seat. But it was one of the coolest trucks that he had. I think he had it supercharged. It was all-wheel drive. He had those big 37s on it, and so he could pull up at the light and just romp on it, and it would take off and pretty much out, definitely out 60 foot anything out there. And he had a big.
Did they have a 3.1?
No, it just had a 6-liter in it. So it was a 6-liter supercharged. I don't think he had a cam or anything in it. I think just a supercharger, but it being all-wheel drive, you get on something all-wheel drive and it just hops. And so it being it being a little taller and having those 37s on it, it was kind of all over. It was so fun to drive. And he put a train horn, not Not like you seen those or what are they called? Air blasters?
Horn blasters.
Horn blasters.
Yeah.
So like he didn't. It was before that got popular. I swear it was almost like he made this shit popular. I don't know, but he bought on eBay. He bought a real train horn, not a fake. You know what I mean? Like not a small one for a truck.
Not the fake one, but the actual metal big train horn.
He bought an effing train horn off of a train, and then he rigged it all up underneath. It was pointing off of the passenger side, so that he could drive and honk people on the sidewalks, right? And man, I remember sitting at his shop upstairs, like far away from his truck would be on a lift, like in the very back, and it was a long way away. And I remember just working away, and then them testing the train horn, and me like jumping out of my seat, like it was so loud. So. That's a truck. You mentioned you had one from your grandpa. That's that Hummer when he sold it. I was like, I can't remember how old I was, but I remember I didn't have any money. I couldn't have bought it, but it was always something that I thought like, man, that sucks that he's getting rid of this, because I know this is a special truck. I'm always gonna think about it. So I wish I had bought that or had an opportunity to have that after he was done with it. But I do have the train horn.
Yeah. Sitting at the shop.
Yep. I told him, like, are you going to pull the supercharger off before you get rid of it? Or are you going to, like, what about the train horn? Like, nobody's going to want to use that train horn. What's cool too is he had an on and off switch for the train horn, but he also bought a legit, a lever out of a train to actuate the train horn. So you could hear all three horns. So you could, pull the lever a little bit, the first horn would come on, then you could hear the second, hear the third. Yeah, so you had like legit control of the train horn too. It was very cool. You should
mount that at the bed of the truck.
Well, we have the Jeep. I don't know. Have you seen our Jeep?
Yeah, I've watched some of the videos.
Yeah, so we have our Jeep, and I've put that thing on the lift trying to find, like, there's got to be a way to hide this train horn up under the Jeep somewhere, and I just can't find a good place to put it. But yeah, I mean, I have the
train. It might be hard to tuck one, because there's not much room under a Jeep to begin with. There's not much room in a period. Because I've sat in so many like JKs and JLs that I'm just like, if I ever want to buy one, I'm gonna have the seat like chopped down to like lower the seat a little bit.
They're cool because like they are kind of small inside too. I mean, I remember when we first got our Jeep, we were like, wow, we're really sitting pretty close together.
Yeah, you kind of feel like smushed in it.
Yeah,
I don't know why they haven't made them a little bigger. You'd think over time, like how every other car has, look at a Corolla, older Corollas versus the new Corollas, they're like double the size.
Yeah, double the size.
You'd think they would have just slightly bumped the size of the Wrangler interior bigger.
Every time I see a new Bronco too, I'm like, holy shit, those are so small. Those are so tiny. Like, same thing. I wonder why they didn't make it just a little. I mean, obviously, they're using it as a they're trying to compete with the Jeep, right? So they want to be able to get on those small trails, and so it makes sense. But every time I see one in person, I'm like, holy shit, that thing is so tiny. They're cool though. I really like. My grandpa would kill me if I said I like a Ford, but those Broncos are pretty damn cool. You put wheels and tires on a little lift, just like a Jeep. They look good.
Yeah, the new Broncos, though, I've heard they've had so many issues with the soft top.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently the soft tops in cold weather, your interior will possibly frost over.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's not good. I'm like, aren't the tops supposed to seal?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Jeez, no kidding.
You would die?
I would die.
There's a company I've seen been popping up. You guys, if I find it, I'll send you the link. But it made me think with the Wrangler, it's like PPF, but for the whole side of the truck.
Oh, really?
They make like pre-cut PPF sheets to cover your doors and your fenders and the edges of the hood. Okay. So when you're coming up along brush, it doesn't just scratch the hell out of your paint.
Yeah, because it does. Every time we go out, we're like, holy shit, look at the side of the Jeep.
Yeah. When I was the interim service manager at the Chevy store, they gave me a demo truck, just like every manager got. I had a 2015 crew cab Z71 on the 22-inch all-terrains with the 6.2.
Okay.
And I took that thing over Santiago Peak a couple times down here. I scratched the hell out of that thing. every weekend I'd be coming back and be like, detail guys, I'm like, can you buff it out again?
Yeah.
Because it just looks like nails on the chalkboard down the side of the whole truck.
Yeah, exactly. And some of them come out and some of them don't. So it's
most of
always
them
a gamble.
did because it was fairly fresh paint.
Good.
I know I did on that truck because it had an electric steering rack. I flooded the steering rack once.
Oh, really?
That it shorted out. So it had no power steering.
Oh,
and I
wow.
rolled into service and we warranted the power steering rack out.
Oh, really?
And the techs were like, what were you doing with it? I'm like, clean the mud out of it before we send it back.
For real. That's funny. Well, we're at an hour already. The only other thing I think we wanted to discuss with you is maybe do you have any like frequently asked questions that you get over the phone that you want to address, or anything that I know everything is so like specific to each customer, right?
Yeah.
Their specific year, make, model, does this fit, that sort of thing. But is there anything that you can think of that you'd want to talk about there?
When it comes to, all you guys that have the 263s, 261s, if you got the LD or the HD, it is so worth it, and it fits to have that XHD chain upgrade.
Oh yeah.
There's no point not to run it.
Yeah,
I've
I
had
think
a few
that's something
lately like, well, does this fit? I'm like, yeah, it's definitely going to fit, and it's definitely worth it, because I don't think, if you get in that situation where you need to get out of Dodge, it's going to hold up versus your normal LD chain.
Yeah.
Or HD chain. I'm like, would you rather have the stronger one or the weaker one? The stronger one? Then let's do this one.
Yeah, that's something that I think we even talked about this in one of the Tech Tuesday videos.
Yeah, we did.
Is the XHD upgrade is something that every single person needs to put in a 261 or 263 regardless if you think you don't need it or you do. Just do it, because it is so much stronger. It's such a more heavy duty chain, bigger links, wider, so much more beef there than the stock like 1.25 inch, 49 link. It's just smaller, stretches easier, all of that stuff. If you're going to take the time, if you're going to take the time to open the transfer case and take it out of the truck, that's why when you order one of our rebuild kits, if you buy sprockets, it's always going to come with an XHD, because you can't just put the XHD chain on LD sprockets or HD sprockets. You can't mix and
match it.
Right, but if you buy a kit that has that you are purchasing sprockets for, it's always going to come with an XHD upgrade. So something to look for, and I know a lot of customers might not read the descriptions fully, right? And they get the XHD chain and XHD sprockets.
Match what they have.
Right, and then they're always calling in like, "Hey, you guys sent me the wrong parts." That's something to know and look for in our listings before you purchase. Is those kits are always going to come with a better chain. So you might not be getting the parts that are exactly in your transfer case, but no, you're getting the upgrade, and it's well worth the money and the time you're taking to swap those things out.
Oh yeah. And to all you Borg Warner 44, 46, 44, 47 owners, please maintain your cases. Please stop letting them blow up. Because before you know it, there's going to be no parts.
Yeah, well, that's like we talked about earlier. I mean, I think the process of getting those parts here is kind of being alleviated, and I think more people have stuff on the shelf. But yeah, it's
I checked someone for a rear case half. They were on national back order with no ETA.
Yeah. It seems like those, like the bigger parts, like the actual case halves and stuff like that, those are a lot harder to come by than the internals. So
well, yeah, but the simple maintenance can take your transfer case thousands of more miles, tens of thousands of more miles.
Yeah, drain it, look at the fluid, see what's going on in there, like periodically.
I'm not sure if it's just a servicing interval issue or what it is, but
right.
I had one person send me a picture. they were missing this much case. They were missing 6 to 7 inches of case on
So
front
the
and back.
internals literally blew through.
They were gone.
Really?
They were somewhere down the highway.
Oh man.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
had-
if you
They had
It
no
is-
chain left. They had no output. The shift motor was barely dangling by the wires.
yeah, like you said, if you do have one of those units, a 4446 or a 4447, it is worth your time to go make sure you do have that unit, and if you do, take extra special care of it while you have it, because I mean, we do get a ton of orders for those rebuild kits, and all that tells us is that there's some issues inside that transfer case that
Considering they're also so new too, compared to like the 246 and 263s,
yeah,
which were a
they're-
lot of for the mid and early 2000s, and these are 14, 15 and up trucks needing a full rebuild already.
yeah,
Kind of
it's-
like
you know
that's-
that
kind of scary.
yeah, they're, I mean, I don't want to say a weak transfer case, but if they're having this many issues this early out of production, then it is worth your time to just, even if you just drain the fluid to see what it looks like inside, if you're getting metal shavings or whatever, address stuff early so that shit like that doesn't happen to you where you're driving down the freeway and the rear case half blows off or something, you know?
I think one person I had a 2019
Really?
that was already needing a rebuild.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And I don't know how many miles they had on it. They could be, you know, a hotshot driver that's got 200,000 miles on their truck already, but a 2019 though.
I mean, at 2019 with 200,000 miles, you got to think that's a lot of highway driving, and you're not
Yeah.
really using the transfer case so much in that 200,000 miles. So, I mean, that's kind of even more scary, right? If that's the case. So, a 2019, I mean,
I'd
yeah.
say a lot of our 44.6 guys and 44.47 purchases, I think a lot of them I've talked to are hotshot drivers too. So
Really?
it's all highway miles.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's something where lack of use of the four-wheel drive system is causing these issues,
Could be, yeah.
or maybe it's overuse. Maybe it's all the time people are living it in four high and running it down the highway.
Yeah, true. We'll, and hopefully the price of these kits go down dramatically over the next couple years, because they're very expensive still, because, you know,
Say they're the most expensive kit we offer right now.
yeah, I think so too. And they're, you know, flying off the shelves. Everybody's needing one. So hopefully in the next year, 2 years, maybe we have more suppliers, or, you know, more manufacturers are making these parts, because they are going to be like the 261 and 263, where they do need rebuilt and there are some issues inside of them. So,
And those are going to be found in the Dodge and Fords.
yeah,
I think 2,500 and up. I've seen as high as 5,500 models with those.
really. Yeah, I mean, those are going to be the fire department guys with the 5500s. And yeah,
Well,
so.
5,500 was one of the hotshot guys.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you do have one of those units, pay close attention to it. Maybe buy internals before something worse happens, right? Check them out and make sure that you stay on top of that, because there's
Even
nothing
if you got
worse.
to change the fluid more often, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's
worth
what
that
I'm
extra
saying.
maintenance than ending up with a shredded transfer case and then having to buy a whole unit and not getting a core back.
Yeah, which at this point could be $6,000 for a whole new unit on those. I mean,
Exactly.
They're
I think
so
the last
new.
one I quoted was about 6,000 plus the core.
Yeah, it's insane. So they're just so new. There's limited parts on them. It's a tough deal right now. So pay close attention if you have those. And I mean, obviously we'll help you with anything that you need help with. But you know, drain the
And if you
fluid. What's
If
that?
you don't put it on the website, give me a call, shoot me an email. There's a lot of stuff, you know, if you're looking for a random fork or hub or synchronizer for that
Right.
transfer case, give me a call, shoot me an email, be like, hey, I need this. I'm sure I can find it. There's, you know, I'll dig through my catalog. I'll find it, just like I have for many of our other customers.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't mind
Exactly.
going that extra mile to find those parts for everyone.
Yeah, and that's a weak link in our website right now too. Is there all the product isn't on there. I mean, we have rebuild kits for the 44, 46, and 44, 47, but we do have a lot more parts besides those rebuild kits that aren't listed on the website. So, like you said,
Even in, you know, in our defense, it with some of the catalogs for like a 44, 46, there's so many different variants too of those pieces internally it'd be hard to list all of those.
Yeah, and not everybody is making, even though manufacturers might show them in their catalog, that doesn't mean they're actually making them. They went through all the parts. Yeah, they went through all the parts inside that transfer case. They gave it a part number, right? But that doesn't mean that they necessarily are making that part number yet. They're just so new, like you were saying, 2015 and up. They're just so new to the aftermarket that manufacturers are trying to still do their research, get all the product dimensions, all of that stuff, so that they can make them themselves.
I think 14 and 15 is an overlap year for Dodge.
Okay.
Because my friend's boyfriend's 2500 has a 273 in it.
Oh, really?
When most of them, from what I've seen, had the 44 46s.
Yeah, I think it went from.
When he bought it, I made him crawl under there. I'm like, crawl under there and send me a picture of the tag right now and make sure this is not a 44 46. Because I'm like, I won't make you go get another truck.
Yeah, I think that's the latest model that I've seen with a 273 in it is somewhere around 2014, right?
Yeah, I think 14. It's just like the Jeeps had the overlap year for JK and JL. I think 14, 15 was that weird like half and half or like half and quarter overlay.
All right, cool. Yeah, and if anybody needs help identifying what transfer case they have, obviously use us as a resource. Even if you don't buy parts from us, it doesn't matter. Give us a call. We'll help you with the best knowledge that we have. Send us pictures. That always helps. And obviously will help.
The more pictures you can send me of any tag numbers, casting numbers, it's all going to help me find the right parts for you.
Yeah, the most information you can provide, the most, the more pictures you can send, like you said, helps.
Even a pin sometimes.
And even if we don't know, obviously we know people in the industry who might know. So give us all the info you can, and if we don't know, we're not too stupid to say, sorry, can't help you. Like we have people in the industry as well. We'll pass it down the line. We'll get you the correct answer. So
we got the resources to find the answers.
Exactly.
Just give us that shot.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. I appreciate you taking the time today. I know
you
slammed on the phones. Hopefully you can get back and help some people out.
Yeah, I've been watching. So far, only I've missed 2, so I got 2 people to call back.
Oh, cool. That's good. That's awesome. Good for a Thursday then.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
As I said, right now is the little calm periods. That's why I always take my lunch. I've figured out the calm period, so I'm like, cool. I know exactly when to take the lunch.
Yeah, it's interesting how that works, and it, there is those points during the week where it slows down for people. So it's
the weird
good
part
to know.
Is that selling body kits, it was my calm period was like 2:30 to like 3:30 or almost 3 o'clock.
Oh, really?
And everyone's like, "Why are you taking your lunch at almost 3?" And I'm like, "Because I finally got through my morning rush."
Yeah. Yeah, good.
I'm like, I'm not just gonna leave it sit there. I'm like, I want to get it done, get it in, so we can get out the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Guys.
All right,
Thanks
see you,
for
Andrew.
having me.
See ya.
All right, bye.